Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here. It's Whiteboard Wednesday. So, I was doing a little tertiary cleaning of the shelf. Let me see, over there, that one. And of course, you have dust to deal with. So, I thought this would be a great opportunity to share my view. This is only my view after 56 years on dust and dust collection. So, dust is inherently a part of our craft. From hitting a tree with an axe, there's dust created, to hewing planks, there's dust created, to taking logs to sawmills, there's dust created. Okay? Every type of dust is a different dust and can be treated differently. Now, from a health standpoint, we only start getting into problematic dust when it gets finer and finer and finer. Okay? When you breathe in air, there's dust all around us. There's molds all around us. There's yeasts all around us. Our body is designed to filter that. Sometimes you are overexposed to pollen or dust or mold, and your body will react negatively to that. And then you might need some help taking care of that. I know I do from time to time. But we all have to deal with dust. Now, you can use a lot of adjectives as to what you want to do with the dust. Do you want to move it? Do you want to dispose of it? Do you want to collect it? Do you want to extract it? Do you want to contain it? So on and so forth. I have owned more electric powered dust collectors than I want to admit, and they cost thousands of dollars. I had one here that was $3,000. I had another one that was $5,000. And they all failed miserably. What do I mean by that? Very simply. Okay. When you set up a new dust collection system, brand new, typically they work perfectly fine for about 5 minutes. Then, as the superfine dust starts clinging to the filters, they don't work as well. Plus, if these filters are not fine enough, superfine dust is coming out of those filters. So you did not collect or contain all the dust. All right? There is only one surefire way to eliminate fine dust from the workshop. Well, there's two. One, don't make it. That's not going to happen. The second way is to exhaust it. All right? You have some sort of a blower. You're either picking up sawdust from a machine or a tool, and you are sending it outside. You are extracting it. It's gone. It's history. It's out in nature. Okay? Many of you can't do that. You're in a garage. You're in an HOA. You're in a city situation. You can't just pour it outside. So let's talk about that. So the most important thing about dust is you want to extract it as close to the point of creation. So you have a saw blade, circular saw blade. You want some sort of air suction near the bottom of that saw blade. So as it's coming through the cut and dropping down, it's catching and extracting that sawdust 100% at that point. Then it sends it along the long line. So you've got the point of creation into some sort of suction. And then you now have a choice. There are dust collection systems that use filters. Some use cyclones. Some use a semi-cyclone and a filter. Okay. Some of your vacuums have cyclonic action, or they just use filters. So ideally what you want is you want this to come into something that will give you a cyclone type effect. So your air comes spiraling in, and the sawdust comes with it, spins, hits the sides of the funnel, and eventually drops out. So on some of these cyclones, you will have your blower motor mounted on top. Some of them have a separate blower motor and it's ducted in. Most of the big commercial factories years ago, you would see these cyclones sitting up on the roof, right? Big old ice cream cones. They'd be sending all of their dust up to the top, hits that cyclone, then gravity would drop it down into a bin that would get emptied periodically, daily, weekly, whatever. Sometimes they put them on top of silos so that a truck would come and auger the sawdust out once a week. So this would be great. Point of creation, air movement, cyclone, have it drop out into a pile outside your building. Bob's your uncle. Nice clean air. All the shavings are in one place. You could create a box that they drop into, but don't make it airtight because the air has to go somewhere. But that would let the fine dust fly around out there. So if you have neighbors, or if, let's say, you're under trees or something, you got to be a little careful. So here's another reason why I say, out of all the dust collectors I've had, none of them were any good. Because you'll be working and working and working, using your table saw, using your planer, using your joiner, using your shaper, sanders, etc. And all that dust is going in to your dust collector. Until guess what? You forget to clean it and it's full, and then the next time you turn it on, it explodes. There's dust everywhere, everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. And that's the fine dust that will kill you. And once you've contaminated your shop, the only solution is to get out the ladders, get out the vacuum, open the doors and windows, put blowers in here, and start wiping and vacuuming everything down. Especially, and yes, I was emphatic, if you are working with any woods that have an elevated toxicity level. Aromatic red cedar, juniper, black walnut, western red cedar, which is actually not a cedar either, but I digress. Even oak sometimes bothers people. Even pine sometimes bothers people. So if anything you're using has an elevated toxicity level, the minute you blow that filter, you've now put that dust everywhere. So people who use rosewoods, some other exotics, you got to be really careful because that stuff gets on your skin and that's it. You're poisoned the rest of your life sometimes. Cocobolo is bad because what cocobolo does, it's a trigger wood for sensitivity. You could be insensitive to all the woods and then you use cocobolo one time and that's it. Now you can't even use pine. Not everybody, I know, and not all the time. So if you are dealing with conditioned air, so if your air is heated in the winter, cooled in the summer, and dry with a dehumidifier, this is conditioned air. All right? You don't want to just take the conditioned air and throw it outside. You want to return the air back to the shop. So you create a return system and you put a set of filters here and you put a set of filters here, maybe 3 of them, and you bring part or all of the air back into the shop. That's been filtered. You have to remember to clean the filters, okay? So you would want like a medium fine, super fine, and then a HEPA of the highest level that you can get. And make sure when you create these filters that they're all sealed so no air can get through except through the filter. So for people who can't just send their dust outside, you'll have to create some sort of a recirc. And that's what they try to do with the dust collection systems out there. But like I say, the first time you blow a bag or you blow a filter or you're emptying it and you knock your filter over and dust goes everywhere, might as well not have one. That's why there isn't one in here. Okay? I do have my favorite little buddy over there, my Mr. R2D2, my vacuum, and we're going to talk about that in another video, but it's only as good as the system that I'm using, and I'll explain that too. So that's about it for this one. If you have any questions on dust control, air movement, containment, extraction, etc., leave it down in the comment section. I did work in HVAC for a while, so I have a little bit up here still. I don't know how much, but it might be something up there. And I have enough experience with dust collectors to know that you have to be on top of them, making sure that all of their seams are sealed and tight. And if all you have is a bag that you slip on and clamp, that's not tight. I mean, you go ahead and look. There's dust on the outside of your bag. I don't care if it was a plastic bag. There's dust on the outside of your bag. Go look. Go look. I'm not lying. If you found something useful, helpful, maybe entertaining, give it the old thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next one. Hope you're having a great day. Walter out.